His old and damaged windows are letting all of that heat and your money go right out the window. Good thing there's Window Nation. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing for 24 months. You'll love your windows like Albert, who says great value, great product, and great customer service. Hurry, sale ends October 31st, so schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or at windownation.com.
With all these new winners at the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club, we need to decide who's in charge.
We need a top prize winner.
We need someone who's good with words, like us crossword winners.
If elected leader, I will extend the hours during which all winners can use the diamond-encrusted hot tub.
Yes! New scratch-offs mean new winners. This month's tickets are packed with $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.04 to 4.31. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Have you heard of plantar fasciitis? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet store. Imagine jumping off the back of a pickup truck onto some rocks. That's what it felt like when I was suffering from plantar fasciitis. After searching and trying so many other products, I finally found relief with Good Feet arch supports, and they still keep me running today. Now I get to help others who are struggling with plantar fasciitis to live their life pain-free. Here's another customer sharing their Good Feet story.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain. It just hurts all the time. It feels like your foot is squeezing on itself. When I drove past the Good Feet store, I thought, I'm just gonna stop in. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support that were personally fitted just for me. Then it was like, okay, this is something special. These make a difference.
The Good Feet store is in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Fayetteville, and other locations across North Carolina. Visit goodfeet.com to book your appointment today or just stop by the store nearest you.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. That means this is the best chance in 2 years to do a cash-out refi and unlock all that equity at an amazing rate. Loan Pronto has fixed loans under 5% APR, the lowest in 2 years. You can get a fast refi and get $50, $75, even $100,000 in cash. Use it to pay off all your credit cards, personal loans, car loans. You'll end up with one payment each month, and for most homeowners, they save over $850 every month. And if you want to keep your original mortgage intact, ask about the Loan Pronto Express Equity Line of Credit. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
At Take 5, we're faster than you think. That means we'll change your oil and have you back on the road before you can count all the change in your center console. Cha-ching, baby! Just sit back and relax while our fast, friendly team does all the work. Take 5, the stay in your car 10-minute oil change. Appointments now available at participating locations.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone! Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Palat, he'll lose it. Natchez, back out, shot, score! It's October! Let's see a ghost! Shane Gostisbehere, 2-1 Carolina.
Well, he's got the kind of release that makes you want to say boo, because it's off his stick with a ton of velocity before you even know it's coming. A definite screen.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Hi, everyone. I am Adam Gold. That is Graham Hill on the ones and twos. What's up, Graham?
What day is it, Adam?
It's Graham Day. It's Graham Day.
It's a Graham Hill Wednesday, but more importantly, it's a Chip Patter Wednesday because I don't know what it is, but I always sit in when Victoria is on assignment on Wednesdays. So Chip Patterson definitely more important than me, but happy to be with you and all of our great listeners on our statewide network in the Tar Heel State.
Are you just beating Chip Patterson to the inside joke? That's what you're doing, because that's what Chip always brings it up.
If I really want to be
unprecedented statewide network, shouts to our friends in Asheville and Wilmington and Greenville and wherever else you are.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly. If I really wanted to be like Chip Patterson, I would just say, sounds good, y'all be well. I love that outro.
He is amazing. He's the only one we have that has his own outro.
Speaking of signature lines,
It's very Casey Kasem.
It is.
Yeah.
Top tier call last night, I think, by Mike Maniscalco and Trip Tracy on that Shane Gostisbehere goal.
Mike had that one in the hopper. He was just hoping that Gostisbehere would score in October. It was tremendous. Real quick, not that anybody needs to know this, but our TV is not working in here.
Oh, no.
So
I can see you.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So
we are live. We are up and running on YouTube, I think. Is this thing on?
Yeah. YouTube.com/Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. Either way, you'll get to us. Subscribe, like, share, rate, react. Put a comment in the comment box.
Teach your grandparents how to watch it.
I'm going to ask this question because I actually want to talk about this later. So see if we can cull some responses.
Okay.
We will talk about this, and I am just curious. Is it really, because let me just set this up differently. I go on every Tuesday with our friends in Charlotte and WFNZ. I go on with Mac and Bone every Tuesday morning at, I think it's 8:25.
Two greats.
Right, we have them on this show a lot. And so one of the first things they asked me was, can you believe how the ACC is being disrespected by only having two teams in the preseason top 25 AP poll? Duke is 7. I think Carolina is 9. Those are the only two ACC teams in the ranking. And my question was, well, first of all, the preseason poll in basketball is utterly meaningless. It's just there's just no impact at all on what the preseason poll is to the end of the season. Zero. You can make an argument that it matters in football, but it doesn't matter at all in basketball. So that was my first statement. The other one is who's getting disrespected? Like which team who would we rank other than Duke and Carolina? So my question is, it's kind of twofold. Is the ACC being disrespected by not having more than two teams in the preseason poll? And the second part of that is who has to be ranked? Other than Duke and Carolina, who is that team that should have been ranked at the beginning of the season?
I have a question that I'm just going to put a pin in until we get to one-timers at the bottom of the hour, because one of my questions I do have for you, Adam, that you'll share your thoughts with, regards the AP preseason top 25 poll for college basketball. So we'll just save it. I'll put it in my back pocket.
I was waiting for more. No, good. We'll get to it at the in one-timers coming up in about 50 minutes, less than that. And also at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock, we are going to address this. So feel free, fill up the comments box with that. But I want to start where we started the show. And as a point of preview, Jackson Blake, who scored his maiden NHL goal last night, will join us 10 minutes from now. Number 53, Jackson Blake, will be on the show today in 10 minutes. I'm looking forward to talking with him about a number of things, including, like, was it hard getting to sleep? I mean, he's 21, I think. Like, that's a pretty big moment from somebody who probably 3 weeks ago wasn't sure he was going to be here or playing in the AHL. So we'll talk to him about it. All right, but I want to get to the game very quickly. What at least what I saw last night that I felt was so, to me, honestly, important. All right, so for my money, and I talked about this on the Canes Corner podcast, which we do live after every game on YouTube. Again, youtube.com/Canes Corner. You can find it there, or you could just get it wherever you get your podcast. Rate, review. If you give us 5 stars and a little review, I'll read it during the podcast as soon as I start remembering to do those things. I keep telling people to do that and then don't remember. But anyway, to me, other than getting the win, and the truth is that last night was a full week into the NHL regular season since the league kicking out the 2 games the Devils and Sabres played in Czechia. The NHL season proper began a week ago yesterday, right? That first Tuesday night, there was a triple header, including an afternoon game. All right, so we had been playing a week. The Devils played their 6th game last night against Carolina. Hurricanes just finally got on the board. So it was important to get a win just because if you go 0-2, now you're going on a 6-game road trip. Not that you're not going to win a bunch of those games because I think the Hurricanes are going to be fine. But it's just like you look at the standings like, wait a second, there are teams with 10 points already. And we're sitting on 0, and we're already a week plus into the season. So it was big just from like an aesthetic standpoint. But when you look at how Carolina won the game after the way they played against Tampa on Friday night, and I talked about that game in retrospect on the podcast because the truth is that as poorly as Carolina played, so did Tampa. And the Hurricanes should have won the game.
But they could decline penalties.
No, it's not even that. They should have scored. Hurricanes should have been, by accident, scored twice, and they only scored 1 goal. Their expected goals for the game, and we can get, you can drown yourself in analytics, but their expected goals for the game was 3.5, and they scored 1. Andrei Svechnikov should have scored at least 2 goals. He had 0. Svechnikov, one of your best, the guy you're counting on. If he's not gonna bury some of those, he's not gonna get close to 40 goals. He's got to be that guy, and that was almost an own goal to not at least get 2 or 3. And look, the game plays out differently. I'm not going to get lost in the weeds on that one. But last night, because what Friday against Tampa was not a good performance, last night, start to finish, was Hurricanes hockey personified. They dominated the puck. They were in New Jersey's defensive end all night long. The first period was arguably their best period, and they didn't score. They had the puck in front of Jacob Markstrom almost the entire period. They just didn't get anything out of it, but that's okay because they dominated the play. You never saw the Jack Hughes group or Heischer. You never saw any of New Jersey's top players with the puck in a dangerous position in the first period. It was all Carolina. And the 3 goals they scored, all the product of the forecheck. 100% every goal they scored last night, other than the empty net goal by Aho, was a product of Hurricanes hockey. And that, to me, was exactly what you wanted to see, especially coming off of a performance that wasn't very good.
Certainly set the tone, I think, within the first 5 minutes. And give credit to Kotkaniemi as he was out there delivering hits, trying to set the physicality aspect of the game a little bit. But they came out with adrenaline, they looked dialed in, and they came out with some speed. I mean, the first 7 minutes of that hockey game last night just looked like a drag race back and forth up and down the ice.
Yeah, look, the Stahl line always sets the tone. I thought the Drury line was excellent last night. I loved Eric Robinson's game.
I did too.
I thought Robinson was noticeable for the entire game in a positive way. He did. I mean, again, he's not a goal scorer, and I think we all understand doesn't have that skill level, but he is fast and he is big, and he was responsible for the Blake goal because he created the situation that allowed the puck to come to Orlov, who put it on net. But look, quickly, because I want to get to a couple of other things before we get to Jackson Blake, who's going to join us in 5 minutes. We're going to talk about Carolina's new third defensive pair, which we can call the Ghost Walker pair, Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker. And I thought Pyotr Kochetkov, after I didn't love the Jack Hughes goal, I thought that goal could have been dealt with better, like I didn't like the Freddie Anderson second goal. But Kochetkov played a good game last night. And now Rod Brindamore has seen both goaltenders play, and I think there's a lot to like about what both did, and he's got a decision made. Well, they'll both play in the next two games because it's in Pittsburgh on Friday, then in St. Louis on Saturday. After that, we'll see what happens. All right, let me get to a quick NFL note. The ESPN Jets are all in on Davante Adams to the Big Apple. They're dialed in. So let me get this straight. The team that couldn't protect Aaron Rodgers against a team that rarely blitzes and one that struggles to run the ball between the tackles thought the remedy was to add a 32-year-old receiver coming off a hamstring injury. Okay, I see the logic. All right, here's Mike Greenberg, who jumped on with Pat McAfee yesterday, and he is fired up.
This is what we are wearing, boys.
Here we go, Brady.
We are back. The Jets are back.
Yep.
We are absolutely back in business.
Yep.
Just when I thought we were done, we are back in it. The Jets are going to go on. Listen to me right now, McAfee.
Okay.
The Jets are going to win 7 of their next 9 games.
Okay.
Rodgers is going to get hot as hell.
Woo!
This is not going to make Garrett Wilson unhappy. It's going to unlock Garrett Wilson. This offense is suddenly going to look markedly better. That will bring a little fire to the defense. This is exactly what we needed, and we are back.
We're back, yeah. Chris Canty from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio, not as in love as Mike Greenberg.
I'm fading the New York Jets. I don't have any belief that this Davante Adams move is going to put them over the top. While I recognize from an X's and O's standpoint why they did it and how it could make them better, I also recognize there is a downside to this thing. Like, we keep talking about, oh, yeah, well, now you got Davante and Garrett Wilson's going to get one-on-one, so he's going to get the ball and get more opportunities to display what a talent he is. Are we sure that's going to happen?
No.
Because right now we live in a world where Allen Lazard has more touchdown catches than Garrett Wilson. How does that make sense?
Well, it would make sense if Garrett Wilson is getting double-teamed, but it also makes sense if you watched Garrett Wilson drop a touchdown pass on Monday night, which I think some of us who watched the game, because at that point the Mets had already made my evening, so I did catch that, and Garrett Wilson dropped a touchdown pass. Meanwhile, as T.J. Watt and company lick their chops heading into their Sunday night football feast against the gangrenous Jets offensive line, Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, is mulling a quarterback switch.
At the quarterback position, like I said last week, we were scheduled for Russ to work in totality. He did that. Over the course of the week, I got comfortable with his ability to display his health. Now it's about, knocking the rust off. He did some of that last week. He is in consideration this week. We'll see where that leads us, man. Both guys at the quarterback position are scheduled to work tomorrow, and we'll just walk it day by day, all geared toward putting ourselves in best position to win the football game.
Take the under. I'm not sure we could go. I'm not sure the under has ever looked better than it looks Sunday night with the Steelers' defense and pass rush against the Jets. I don't know. We could end up with a shootout. I'll make this prediction. If when Mike Tomlin does in fact go to Russell Wilson, I think we'll get back to Justin Fields pretty quickly. But the truth is that neither quarterback, I think, is the long-term solution for that football team. All right, last night I was at Lenovo Center, and you never forget your first. Jackson Blake, number 53, a rookie for the Carolina Hurricanes. Congratulations on your first NHL goal. Turns out to be a game winner. So if you could, I don't want to know about the goal because you've been asked about that 16 times. And basically you said last night that you blacked out afterwards, so you probably don't remember much anyway. But talk to me about the night. What was it like? How many text messages did you have? Did you get to sleep at all? How you doing?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of texts from people you haven't heard from in a while. So it's pretty cool that. But like you said, yeah, I blacked out, so not a lot of remembering from when I was on the ice there. But yeah, I mean, I tried to go to bed right away. I couldn't, and some of the boys were on Fortnite, so I hopped on with them for a little bit, and then I got to bed around 1. So, but yeah, it was a crazy crazy night. It was unreal, and yeah, like you said, a lot of support from the family and other people too. So
now I have Fortnite questions. Do you have a first goal skin?
Oh, jeez, no, no. No,
I don't know. I don't play. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a minute since my son's played. But that is awesome. Do you have texts that you have yet to return?
I think I still have a couple. Obviously, it's a lot, and I don't know. We'll see. I haven't really been checking today so far, so I'm sure there's a couple in there that I still got to get back to.
Do you remember anything? Jackson Blake is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. Do you remember anything about the play itself? Do you need it described to you?
No, I've watched it a couple times, so obviously I don't really remember it from being on the ice, but obviously watching it, you kind of see how it all broke down with Robbie letting the guy stick there, and then Orley just getting it on net, and fortunately I got a tip on it, so it was pretty special.
Yeah, it was a great play, and I was talking about this if you go back to Friday night when the game was flat for really both teams. I mean, Tampa wasn't great either. This game epitomized what Hurricanes hockey is about. You know how the head coach preaches, this is how we do it, this is how we do it. And then Friday night, it's not really done that way, really, except, I guess, for the stall line. But then last night, everybody played that way because all 3 goals before the Aho empty net goal were all product of the forecheck and getting behind New Jersey's defense because that's really what that was. So that has to make your head coach feel good.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, like you said, Friday wasn't our best, but I think last night we all were playing with a chip on our shoulder, every line, every defenseman, and even Coochie and Ned. I think everyone just was playing the way that, like you said, Rod preaches, and I think if we all do that, we're a pretty dangerous team. So
when this team plays in that manner, there's nobody that you guys can't beat, and you really control the game against the Devils. Jackson Blake is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. First NHL goal last night. Take me back to, I know you spent a good deal of the summer here. You, Bradley Nadeau, I think Scott Morrow was here. There were some others as well working out. But take me back to the summer, and did you look at this as, if I do these things, I can make the team? What was your mindset heading into training camp?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was a big summer for me and those guys too. So we decided it was best probably to come here in the summer and work out with Billy and skate with the staff and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think going into camp, obviously, you never know. It's pretty. I don't know, you kind of got to go into it with a positive attitude, and, every day is a test, and, just work as hard as you can and give them a reason to keep you. So I think that was my mindset going into it, and now I guess just got to find a way to stay. So. Yeah,
well, I mean, scoring a goal, and it's not just the goal, because I think playing the way you play is, because you can play with some jam too, and I know you have a skill game, but you're not going to just stay here on skill, especially playing with Jack Drury and Eric Robinson. There's going to be an element of grittiness that is expected. What has anybody told? Has anybody given you direction about that, or are you just, this is what I have to do?
Yeah, I think obviously it's kind of, you got to go at it with the mindset of, if that's a role you want to play, then show the coaches you can play in that role. Obviously, like you said, I think I'm more of a skill guy, but I kind of want to show them that I can be a Swiss Army knife too and play anywhere they want me to. And obviously, like you said, I think, most importantly, my dad's given me a lot of advice. He's been through this a couple times, so just advice from him has been huge. And yeah, I mean, it's been going good.
Has your dad talked? Because I know your dad played against Rod. Has your dad talked to you about playing against your head coach?
Yeah, I think obviously my dad wasn't the biggest guy, and I remember him telling me that he lined up against him one time, and he was a little scared of him, I think. I think he was one of the guys he was scared of in the league. Not scared of many, but I think he saw him, and he's like, geez, this guy's big. So, yeah, that was a pretty funny story my dad told me.
All right, so I've heard part of the story about when you found out you made the team. So walk me through where you were when you found out, and how did you find out?
Yeah, some of the boys told me that we had a little golfing event the next day. I think this was a Sunday.
Right.
So I went to the course with the team and stuff, and I was in a group. We were playing a scramble, and I think on the third hole, I got a call from the GM, Tulsky, and he basically gave me the rundown, and it was a pretty ecstatic moment. My dad, I texted him because I was on the course, and he called me right away, and all my family, I talked to them, and it was an unreal moment. Super grateful and fortunate that they gave me the opportunity. But, yeah, I was on the golf course, so it was unreal.
How long until you hit another good shot after finding out?
Gee, yeah, it wasn't my best day on the course. I'm a pretty good golfer, I like to say, but it's been a while since I played, maybe 2 months. So, geez, it probably was a couple holes, but I didn't really care how good my golf game was that day, to be honest.
That's exactly right. So it was maybe your best day on the golf course. All right, so now you guys you're headed off on this road trip. So being a young guy, and I don't know if whether you expected this or not. I hope you did, because you're obviously a talented player. 60 points in 40 games at North Dakota, Hobie Baker Award finalist. That's no joke. How many suits do you have for this road trip?
I only have 2 suits here with me, so I guess I'll just bring both of those and maybe switch off each game.
Are you going to a teammate for fashion advice?
Oh, geez. I haven't even thought of that. I know some of the guys got good fashion on the team, good style, but
you've only seen a couple of games. Who has impressed you? Oh, he dropped? Oh no, that's it.
Do we call back?
No, don't let him go.
Maybe he'll call us.
That's fine. If he calls back, great. If not, that's all good. That was Jackson Blake. Maybe he didn't want to call anybody out. No, I ain't asking that guy for fashion advice. He dresses like a whatever.
Maybe he realized he had to go call Brent Bird so that he can get one of those top hats and some of those backpacks that he wears with his suits.
If I were Jackson Blake, there are 3 players I would seek out for fashion advice.
Jack Drury's one.
No, I would not go Jack. I think
really?
Jack is more understated.
Okay.
Like if you
Svetch.
Marty Natchez.
All right.
Jesperi Kotkaniemi. It's a little bit more on the flashy side, I believe, KK. And Sebastian Aho. Those are the 3 I would stick to. But there you go. Jackson Blake, who scored his first NHL goal yesterday and needs different cell service.
He had another family member that was calling him. I haven't talked to this person in a while. Let me.
It's fine.
Sorry, Adam.
It's all good. All right, when we come back, Brooke Prior of ESPN on what the Steelers are likely to do at quarterback. I know what Mike Tomlin said, but is he really going to move away from Justin Fields? Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's fire sale time for the Panthers. This season is a wash, so go ahead and look at your roster. Pick your untradables. Maybe J.C. Horn, Derek Brown, some of the rookies. Everybody else, put up the for sale sign. Move some closer to the street at the garage sale so everybody knows their price to move. But you have to start thinking about the future. This season's a wash.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here. You know me. I want to help you. So let me help you. Are you a glasses or contact lens wearer? I will do the same for you as I did for me. And I made my life easier about a dozen years ago. I went to see Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK. She is the only LASIK specialist in the Triangle, and she took me from 2250 to 20/20 vision back a little bit more than a dozen years ago. I have never looked back, pardon the pun, and people asked me a lot. As a matter of fact, somebody came up to me at the hockey game the other day and said, "Did it really work? Should I do this?" And I said, well, if you don't want to wear contact lenses and search for your glasses all the time for the rest of your life, yes, you should do this. 919-510-6830, TraversLASIK.com. Here are other reasons. Totally painless, 5 minutes per eye, could go back to work the very next day, and 2 years zero-interest financing is available. 919-510-6830, TraversLASIK.com. See what you've been missing.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Hey, North Carolina, it's State Fair time, October 17th through the 27th in Raleigh. Homegrown happiness awaits. 11 days, just once a year. Come out and celebrate what's great about North Carolina. We've got the best deep-fried delights, the most blue ribbons ever, nearly 100 thrilling rides, and surprises around every corner. Bring your friends, bring your family, but most importantly, bring your sense of adventure. Get your discounted tickets now at ncstatefair.org. See you at the fair.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
The one, the only, Brooke Prior covers the Pittsburgh Steelers for ESPN at BE Prior on Twitter. Is he really doing it? Is Mike Tomlin really going to go to Russell Wilson? He seemed kind of, yes, maybe. Is he going to do it?
Like Mike Tomlin told us yesterday, you'll have to ask me closer to game time because it certainly seems like this is a little bit of gamesmanship and I think also a little bit of grass is always greener type situation. I compared this to a white elephant gift exchange earlier today that Mike Tomlin has unwrapped Justin Fields. He sees what he has, but he has an opportunity to maybe go back under the tree and unwrap this quarterback-shaped gift that it looks an awful lot like Russell Wilson, like a Pro Bowl quarterback, a Super Bowl winner, but do you really know what you have when this wrapping paper or the gift underneath the wrapping paper also has a calf that's coming off an injury and is 35 years old and everything else. I mean, it's one of those things where he's so tempted to see what it is, especially because the Steelers' passing game has just not really lived up. But, man, it's really hard to put Justin Fields back under the tree when you've seen what he can do with his legs. And when I asked him about it yesterday, he even point-blank said, like, no, Russell Wilson cannot do what Justin Fields does with his legs. And that, to me, is kind of like, well, then maybe you shouldn't go to the guy that can't move behind an offensive line that is very injured and very much a work in progress.
Brooke Prior is joining us here. Interesting, the white elephant. I was actually thinking about, I think it's let's make a deal, because you know what you have in Justin Fields, but what's behind door number 2, or in this case, door number 3, that might end up being something that is broken. But maybe it's a risk-free deal, because I guess you can always go back to Justin Fields and he can take off his cape and kind of save the offense, because he is. Look, it's not great. They don't have a great passing game, but he is helping them win. I'm just not sure Russell's pass game at this point is good enough to make up for the other things that Justin Fields does.
Yeah, you're right. And actually, I got some stats back from our good people at ESPN Research who look at the numbers because they make my eyes cross. And Justin Fields was actually more accurate at the deep ball last season than Russell Wilson, which I was really surprised by, because that's really been a hallmark of Russell Wilson's game throughout his career. But Fields was more accurate. He ranked higher among all qualified quarterbacks. Last season, Russell Wilson's completion percentage was 66.4%. Right now, Justin Fields is at 66.3%, although I think it's dropped to about 57% in the last 2 games. He definitely has not been as good the last 2 games. But what he lacks in, passing efficiency, accuracy, all of those things, he's made up for with his legs, which is kind of a double-edged sword, because sometimes he does use that as a crutch and maybe breaks the pocket when he doesn't need to. But just given how anemic this offense has been, and it's really been a thing that's plagued this offense for the last couple of years, even, before Arthur Smith and before Justin Fields and Russell Wilson and all those things, it has been nice to see the Steelers have an offensive option that can bail them out when it looks like, it's 3rd and long or, 2nd and long, and all of a sudden Justin Fields is running and he either makes it a 3rd and manageable, 3rd and short, or he picks up a first down. He really is an X factor that I don't think at this point in his career that Russell Wilson has, but I also think that because Mike Tomlin is a guy that very much sticks to his principles, and one of his longstanding principles is if you were a starter and you get hurt, you will not lose your job because of injury. This is his opportunity saying, all right, Russ, you're healthy. Go show me why I named you QB1 after training camp. Go show me why you started training camp in pole position, and let's see what you have. And, if this week in practice, if it looks like Justin's still the better option, or we start you this week and still looks like Justin's the better option, then you'll go to the bench, but not until you get a fair shake.
Brooke Prior, who covers the Steelers, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. She works for ESPN, which is also known as the New York Jets television network. We're going to get to the Jets in a second. I just wanted to set that up. The thing is about, I think Tomlin named Russell, you know better than I, but I kind of think that Tomlin named Russell QB1 before they acquired Justin Fields. And he didn't want to, maybe hurt Russell's feelings. So, okay, but then it was an open competition. So, ultimately I come back to the Steelers aren't going to win pretty, no matter who the quarterback is. And at the end of the day, I think Fields' ability to make stuff happen when everything breaks down, I think ultimately will win out, even if they waste a week with Russell at quarterback. But, man, you can beat the Jets by doing simple things.
Yes, you absolutely can. And I think you're right, by the way, about Russell Wilson essentially being named a starter before they even acquired Justin Fields. I don't know that a promise was necessarily made, but it was the understanding before they traded Kenny Pickett that Russ was going to come in and kind of work from that pole position. And Mike Tomlin is a guy that above everything else is very loyal to his people. this is a little bit different because he had this, longstanding loyalty with Ben Roethlisberger, but obviously he was in the organization for almost 2 decades. And Russell Wilson was in it for about 2 weeks before they added Justin Fields. But I still think that those principles hold true, and that's why he wants to give Russ a fair shake. But you're right. When you're going up against this Jets team, you don't have to do anything fancy. You just have to play mistake-free football, which, by the way, Justin Fields has largely done. He's had some turnover-worthy plays that were negated because of penalty or called back or dropped interceptions or whatever else. But still, by and large, it's been pretty turnover-free, which the Jets can't necessarily say the same of their offense. We know what happened on Monday night. What I would say is, be patient this Sunday. I don't know who the officiating crew is, but, man, they can't throw any more flags than the crew did on Monday night.
We're out of flags. They're completely out of flags.
So.
Yeah, they have to go get more. Brooke Prior from ESPN. All right, so I believe they went through the entire – I shouldn't say they. I'll call out Mike Greenberg. I don't mind. Because we'll get him on the show to talk about his book, and I will tell him this, he and Hembo, to their faces or their ears. They went through the entire gamut of emotions before the Davante Adams trade. It was the Jets do everything that losing organizations do. It's a losing organization. I mean, we can't get around that. That's why I stopped being a fan. I can't be a fan of complete incompetence. But I don't know what adding Davante Adams does. It gives them another good wide receiver. Of course, the Rodgers-Adams heyday was 4 years ago. It's been a minute since those two guys were an item. This is sort of like Ben and Jennifer Lopez,
yeah.
Right? Getting back together. I don't understand this. That didn't work out the second time, by the way. But I think the Jets have deeper problems than another wide receiver. I mean, it'll make their offense a little bit better, but I think their problems are deeper than that. But what are your thoughts on Davante going to back to New York to New York?
I would say the Ben and J-Lo comparison is spot on because the first thing that I thought when I saw Davante Adams pop up in the back of Aaron Rodgers' interview with Pat McAfee yesterday was, wow, Davante Adams is just like us. We also can't stay away from our toxic exes. And here Davante Adams is kind of sheepishly in the back of Aaron Rodgers' interview. Star wide receivers are just like everyday people. It really feels like a Band-Aid on a bullet hole type situation because the Jets, for all of their problems, yes, they need more consistent wide receivers, but to me, that's not their number one issue. I think the offensive line needs to be better. Defense has been pretty good, but also pretty inconsistent. And then you fire the defensive coordinator or the head coach that was a defensive guy who, largely had the defense looking pretty good. And then it felt like they regressed on Monday night. The offense hasn't been able to move the ball seamlessly. To me, yes, there have been moments where Aaron Rodgers looks like Aaron Rodgers and looks like, oh, yeah, that's right, this is why we moved the assets and went all in to acquire him. But sometimes he also just looks like a 30-something quarterback coming off an Achilles tear. He's just not the same guy. And it really feels like he's trying to hold on to something that he previously had but doesn't really have anymore. And it felt like a panic move and one that they did to appease Aaron Rodgers, which this organization feels like it's really bent over backwards. This is the Aaron Rodgers Jets, not the New York Jets anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that it's, in some ways it's sad, and it's also like, man, you better be able to go all in and win a Super Bowl here because you have given this guy the farm and the keys and the deed and the land that it's on. Like it is his team now, his franchise.
Yes.
And that's concerning if this doesn't work out. I also think the fact that the terms of the Davante Adams trade show me just what a desperation move this was, because it's not just about the assets that they give up, what a conditional third that could become a second, but they took on all of his salary. They didn't really seem to negotiate much at all. Maybe they came down from a solid second to make it a conditional, but they pretty much did what the Raiders wanted because it's what Aaron wanted. So I hope it works out for them.
Oh, in many ways, I hope it doesn't because it it increases the comedy. And it's funny when it's the Jets. So Jets fans have always been irrational. I pride myself on being rational. The thing about it is, I'm not sure that there is that much risk in the Adams portion of this, because it only becomes a second if Adams becomes an all-pro or he is active when the Jets play in the conference championship game or the Super Bowl. And I can't imagine the Jets are even going to make the playoffs, let alone play in the conference championship game or the Super Bowl. And if Adams is an all-pro, then they probably will, and then it would be worth it. And plus, the last 2 years of his contract are not guaranteed, so I don't think the Jets have anything. So the Raiders are on the hit for the dead cap hit. So I'm not 100% up on all of that. But the bigger risk is what's going to happen with Rodgers in the offseason and where the Jets go beyond that, because they didn't cover themselves. They're going to have to go get a veteran quarterback next year regardless, because there's nobody in this draft that can play right away. And unless Rodgers wants to play one more year, and he doesn't look like somebody who wants to play one more year. No. He looks already beaten down.
I mean, even just by facial expressions, it's not even like the lack of mobility. My God, I mean, the man does not have a poker face. No. I can tell you that. You know the second that he is annoyed or frustrated or disappointed. He has permanent disappointed dad face.
There's not enough ayahuasca that could take that out. Brooke Prior. I mean, there was other things I wanted to get to, but we don't have time. You're the absolute best. Brooke Prior, at B.E. Pryor on Twitter. ESPN covers the Steelers. Good luck. Put Gangrene out of their misery this week.
It'll be one for the books. Another primetime matchup. What can go wrong?
Gosh, the Steelers have had all sorts of great high-profile games of late. Even though it's not vintage Pittsburgh or Raiders, it did take me back to the mid-'70s, though, where when I used to watch all of it. Now I just can't follow it. Brooke, you're awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Peace. Again, the Steelers and Raiders back in the day. You couldn't miss that game. Pittsburgh can win.
Grudge match.
Because you used to Bradshaw and Stabler, and so many Hall of Famers on the field. Probably not as many Hall of Famers on the field last weekend. When we come back, we will have question and answer time. It is one-timers, and I know we're going to hit on college basketball because Graham teased forward. All of that is next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Kamala Harris gets that everyday costs are too high. She has real plans to tackle price gouging, cut taxes for middle-class families, and make life more affordable. Her opponent's plan?
Donald Trump plans to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax. On everyday products, it will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year. When everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher.
Kamala Harris, a better plan for lowering costs for a future we can afford. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Visiting the North Carolina Zoo in Asheboro is a family tradition, perfect for fun outdoor adventure. Founded in 1974, this year marks North Carolina Zoo's 50th anniversary, and the zoo is celebrating all year long. Enjoy the antics of the baboon babies, take a ride on the endangered species carousel, and wonder at the massive elephants of the Watani grasslands. Make cherished family memories today. Plan your trip at nczoo.org. Open 7 days a week in Asheboro.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is Adam Gold.
I had no idea John is a Cubs fan, too.
Yeah, I think that's a prerequisite to being the head coach at Duke. I made one comment about the Cubs to Mike Krzyzewski. Goes back a while ago. Talked about the pitching staff, and he goes, yeah, but I don't trust Victor Zambrano. Like, what?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Graham Hill on the ones and twos today. We are bumping, for the most part, with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremonies are this Saturday in Cleveland with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But then actually the ceremonies are not at the hall. The ceremonies are at where the Cavaliers play. And I've seen the lineup of musical performers, which include so many of the inductees, including Dave Matthews Band. You've already heard that. We had Ants Marching before. That was Cher, Mary J. Blige, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Dionne Warwick. I know Tribe Called Quest is also being inducted, but the list of additional performers is unbelievable.
I saw Dua Lipa, and I said, all right, that's it. All I need to know.
I need a moment if you're going to just say the name Dua Lipa. I need time.
She's very talented, Adam. That's the only reason why I want to tune in.
I agree. She is very talented. I don't know if you saw, she guest hosted Saturday Night Live not that long ago.
Yes, did a phenomenal job.
Amazing. Forget about the fact she was also the musical guest. She was great as the guest host, including performing in, I guess they do anyway. I saw a little bit of Ariana Grande, who guest hosted Saturday Night Live. They basically all they did was make her sing.
Yeah.
As the guest host.
It was Saturday Night Live goes Broadway, pretty much.
It's very weird. Well, she's on Broadway, so no, is she on Broadway or is she just doing?
She's in the remake of the Wicked Witch of the West.
They're doing a Broadway show
Say
on
that
screen.
3 times fast.
Right, basically doing a Broadway show on screen. Anyway, yeah, Dua Lipa's amazing. Anyway, so that's why we're bumping with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame folk. All right, it's time for one-timers.
Yes. Definitive questions and definitive answers. Is that right? Did I get that backwards?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Well,
no.
the questions aren't necessarily definitive. The answers are supposed to be. Questions are supposed to be thought-provoking.
That's what it is. I should have watched the tape. Victoria does a much better job of setting up this segment.
No, she doesn't.
Speaking
Nobody does a good job of setting up anything on this show. We're so bad at it.
Speaking of correcting things, NC State and UNC football each have 4 games remaining on their schedule before they play each other at the end of the season. Both teams need, count them, 3 more wins to become bowl eligible. Who would have thought we'd be asking that or saying that at the beginning of the year?
No.
Do you see 3 more wins remaining on either one of their schedules, Adam?
All right. North Carolina, no.
Take a breath.
North Carolina, because I think North Carolina has structural problems they can't overcome because they can't bail themselves out with offense. That's my problem with UNC. Like, can they win 3? Sure, anybody can win a game, right? But I don't see North Carolina getting to 6 wins. NC State has 5 games left, right? Yeah, they're 3-4. 5 games left. I think all 5 are potentially winnable for them. But at the same time, they could lose all 5. Not kidding. If you told me today that I've seen the future and they finish 3-9, I would go, okay, I'd see it. I think they'd be more competitive and probably have a chance to win each of those games. But if you were asking me who, I would say State, better chance to become bowl eligible, but I could see him not.
Fair enough.
I'm undefeated, never lost.
To me, I'm a little nervous outside. I'm a little nervous outside of that Stanford game, and even that's not really. There's no more guarantees left.
Stanford's the closest one.
Stanford is the closest one. I agree with you on Carolina.
I mean, good luck at Cal.
Yeah.
Then you get a week off, right? Then you get Stanford, and then I think it's Duke after.
Duke at home. Georgia Tech on the road. Thursday night game. That was going to be tough either way at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
And then Carolina will set up for that nice 6-5 versus 6-5 matchup on the CW network. Actually, that game might get pushed to ACC Network Extra, for being honest.
No, it'll be just on the Jumbotron. We'll be debating whether or not TA was in. Part of me wants both teams to be 5-6 in that game.
Oh,
and have real
just
stakes.
A grudge match.
Real stakes
just
in
an
the
all-out grudge match. Speaking of grudges, Duke and UNC basketball. This is what I was hinting at earlier. Landed in the top 10 AP preseason college basketball poll. NC State, however, coming off its first Final Four appearance since 1983, did not receive a single vote in the preseason poll. Bulletin board material for Kevin Keats. Or is it kind of a good thing for the Wolfpack to fly under the radar this basketball season?
I mean, it's possible that the answer is yes to both, but it might be the same question, right? You use that as bulletin board material if you want. For me, what I don't understand is why, if we're looking at it logically, why that would surprise anybody. 2 things I'll say very quickly. If Michael O'Connell doesn't throw in almost a half-court shot, they don't make the NCAA tournament last year. I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
That enabled them to go on in the ACC tournament, which they won, and they still were just a 10 seed after winning the ACC tournament. So they weren't going to get in the tournament unless they basically careered it. And then they just rode an incredible wave of a good team that got hot. They don't bring back enough.
They don't bring back DJ Burns.
Or DJ Horn.
That's right there. And Mo Diarra.
They don't bring that. So right. So I'm not shocked at all that NC State didn't get a vote. I mean, I know they went to a Final Four. It was awesome. To me, there's only 2 bona fide teams that you had to rank in the ACC. And we'll talk about this when we come back.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and Week 7 of the NFL is here. Well, it's tomorrow, but it's here, and it's the Broncos going to visit the Saints, and that means Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. Over under how many times it looks like Payton has swallowed a bad oyster. Take the over. Doesn't matter what the number is. But it's not just the NFL. You've got playoff baseball. This weekend marks the return of English football. That's great. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more this season. And new customers, bet $5, win that bet, get $300 in bonus bets when you win. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Jordan Moore delivers, and the Blue Devils have the lead.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford and by Amedios.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards that zero-turn lawnmower you've always wanted. And after using its edge-shaping technology to meticulously sculpt the face of the Mona Lisa into your grass, you'll become the undisputed king of Saturday morning lawn care, leaving your neighbor and sworn enemy Gary to question his place in the delicate neighborhood ecosystem. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. That means this is the best chance in 2 years to do a cash-out refi and unlock all that equity at an amazing rate. Loan Pronto has fixed loans under 5% APR, the lowest in 2 years. You can get a fast refi and get $50, $75, even $100,000 in cash. Use it to pay off all your credit cards, personal loans, car loans. You'll end up with one payment each month, and for most homeowners, they save over $850 every month. And if you want to keep your original mortgage intact, ask about the Loan Pronto Express Equity Line of Credit. If you act now, you could even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right every time.
Protect your heating and cooling system like my offensive line protects me. I'm Drake May, quarterback at UNC. Mitchell Heating and Cooling has been committed to your comfort for 50 years and counting. Call Mitchell Heating and Cooling today.
Contact us now at mitchellhvac.com or 919-556-5069. Train. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Sitting here at the halfway point, I mean, the chances for the combination of Clemson and Miami, for argument's sake, look pretty good. Pitt continues to do its thing, even though it struggled for the first time offensively this weekend against the Cal defense. It's legit. NC State's going to find that out this weekend in Berkeley. You know, that's Sam's looking around going, hey, we don't see Miami, we don't see Clemson, and we'll take our chances with everybody else. So I think 2 is the magic number for the ACC, but if you told me today they get 3, I think Jim Phillips and every ACC fan would sign up for it.
What about 4? I kid. That was Mark Packer. It was on Monday's show. We're talking about ACC football. We will talk ACC football, college football in general with Chip Patterson. Also a little basketball. Going to hit on basketball here in just a second. I did make a list. And by the way, this is the Adam Gold Show welcome. For those of you just tuning in, hi. We've been here for a bit. Graham Hill is sitting in for Victoria today.
Hello.
Hello. I saw Graham at the hockey game last night. You ignored me as you were walking into the arena.
Well, I was sitting there waiting for you.
I was sitting in my car eating lunch dinner.
Okay, I did not realize that. I thought you were ignoring me.
No.
By sitting in your car. I thought we could walk in together, do a little.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a
little Storm Watch extra.
I was in the middle of a bowl from Cava.
But between you and Game Day Charlie just sitting in your car, I must have stunk or something. Nobody wanted to walk in with me, so I just went on into Lenovo Center. Almost put $1 in the jar.
I understand. I was in the middle of greens and grains and assorted,
vegetables,
add-ins, and I looked down, and then you were gone. But it's fine. It's okay.
Like a ghost in the
wind. Very good. Like Shane Gostisbehere. Anyway, yes, we were both at the hockey game last night. We're going to talk a little basketball here in a second, but I made a list, Graham.
Okay.
Right now, I have 22 teams that, while I'm not saying that they are good enough to be in the playoff, okay? Because I don't think all 22 of these teams are good enough to be in the playoff.
They're teetering.
Like, I don't believe Pittsburgh is good enough to be in the playoff. But they are undefeated. And at some point, your record will determine whether or not you make the playoff.
And I mean, for the storylines too, it's their first undefeated season since the 1990s?
I have
Before
no idea.
my time. I know that.
I remember this. I don't know if they were undefeated in the 90s. I remember the Tony Dorsett 1976 Pitt Panthers.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
Right.
Again,
I remember that. By the way, Tony Dorsett was at one point Dorset. And he also, I think he tried to change from Anthony to Anthony. I don't know. It was weird. But obviously, Tony Dorsett was an incredible college football player, also an incredible professional football player. So I don't think Pitt is good enough to be in the playoff. Frankly, I'm not sure SMU is good enough to be in the playoff, but your record will determine that. So I counted 22 teams that I think have legitimate chances to be in the playoff based on where they are right now. That, to me, is the best argument for an expanded playoff because we are one weekend away from slipping into November, right? This upcoming weekend, 2 weekends away from getting into November, which the season's almost over. We got like 5, maybe 6 weekends left of college football, right? And we got a lot of teams that are still viable for the playoff. It gets me back to, I made this comment last week. I was annoyed by the audacity of a national college football writer who tried to tell us that the outcome of Alabama-Georgia was not impacted by the expanded playoff to 12 teams. And I just thought, let's just do a math problem. And the math problem tells us that if we were dealing with 4 teams, it would be far more difficult for the loser of that game, in this case Georgia, to make the playoffs than in a 12-team playoff. So I despise fundamental dishonesty. Don't lie to me and pretend something is what it isn't. It's okay to be pro-playoff for a lot of reasons, but don't tell me that the outcome of that game was immaterial to 12-team playoff, 14 playoff. No, it clearly had a lot of meaning, and it has less meaning in terms of who will get in based on the expanded playoff. But that's okay. It's okay for an expanded playoff because I think what we have, like Army, Navy. No joke. Army, Navy, the second weekend of December might be for a playoff spot. I ain't kidding. Army and Navy each have however many games left they have. They each play Notre Dame, neutral fields. They're not going to South Bend. The Army Navy. You're going to talk about this more with Chip Patterson. Well, we're also going to talk basketball with Chip Patterson, so I'm not shorting you on the basketball part of this. But the Notre Dame Navy game, which I believe is Notre Dame Army is this week, and that game is being played in Yankee Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah. Why are they playing a football game in Yankee Stadium?
It's not the Pinstripe Bowl, is it?
Maybe that's later. And no, it's not. And Notre Dame Navy is being played at MetLife Stadium, in where the Jets and Giants lose. That if the two service academies win that game, and I don't think Notre Dame is great. Like, Notre Dame is going to be favored in both of them. But if the service academies beat Notre Dame, there's a pretty decent chance we're going to get to the second weekend in December where that matchup is for a playoff spot. Just not kidding. They're both undefeated right now. They're tied for first in the American. I look forward to all of this. Anyway, more on college football with Chip Patterson coming up in a few minutes, and we will also continue the basketball conversation. So here's the question I have, and I put this out at the beginning of the show. I don't know if we've got anything in the comment box on the YouTube. You can always watch the show, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or /99 The Fan. We're here every day. Is it really disrespectful to only have 2 ACC teams in the preseason top 25? I get ACC fans are scarred, maybe beyond repair, based on Florida State not making the playoff last year. Again, I had my piece about this. To me, that was far more about Alabama than it was about the ACC and Florida State. They were just the unnecessary roadkill. But more importantly, as it pertains to the ACC's traditional power, basketball, the last 3 years, the conference has been, I think, unfairly characterized. And it has manifested itself in fewer NCAA tournament bids than most of the other power leagues. Yet at the same time, schools who otherwise might not have been thought of as great basketball teams somehow reached the Final Four. Miami, NC State, Clemson into the Elite Eight. So the ACC has put a bunch of teams into the Final Four without, having high seeds in the NCAA tournament, without having a lot of teams in the NCAA tournament. The league has outperformed expectation, and for the months leading up to the tournament, we have been saying for a while, this league is better than you believe it is, but it's better than your metrics tell us it is, or tell you it is. And this is the problem when you have basketball, which looks at spreadsheets, and football, which looks at eye test, which allows for the nebulous, how can we have a team and not have an SEC team in the playoff? Which is why Alabama was in and Florida State was not. We don't do that in basketball. We don't play the eye test game in basketball. We have more data points. It allows us to just use data. So the preseason poll comes out, and the immediate reaction is, they're screwing us again. So my question is this, because I don't believe the preseason basketball polls mean a lick. Nothing. Here's my question. You have Duke 7, North Carolina 9. I can make the argument that Duke is underrated. I can make the argument that Carolina is overrated. It doesn't matter. Who's the ACC team that had to be in the ranking? Who is the next best ACC team that must be ranked? Because I would just go, I don't know. Shoulder shrug emoji.
You'd be better off at looking at the blocks that go behind your shoulder and just throwing a pin at one of them and be like, oh, Miami.
Right, throw a pin. Miami might be good. I think Miami might be good. They were picked in the top 7 by the ACC media.
Clemson
might be good,
Clemson
too.
has been has shown some strides
I think
the past couple of seasons.
Will be good. They made it to the Elite 8 last year.
Correct.
Brad Brownell's done a dynamite job with that program, by the way. So who else? Louisville might be resurgent. I'll tell you who I think the third best team in the ACC is. I think it's Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest could certainly be a ranked team, but honestly, shoulder shrug emoji. Chip Patterson will join us when we come back. We'll talk a little bit about this. Then we'll get to college football. We got a lot to do. It's a Chip Patterson Wednesday. I am Adam Gold. This is the Adam Gold Show.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook. The Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
10 seconds. Andy pumps, floats one back to the end zone. Brings it in. Xavier Leggett. He does the horse ride, and the Panthers get the TD.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
So our Carolina Hurricanes played last night, and we have the Dodgers versus the Mets in Game 3 tonight, but that's only scratching the surface when it comes to routes you can take when making a wager. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and like I mentioned, whether you're a fan of football, baseball, hockey, or maybe you're an MMA fan like me, there's plenty of options for every sport. Maybe you like picking a goal scorer on the ice or the money line for a football game, especially if you're feeling an underdog, or maybe you like a game as a whole and want to make multiple guesses. When you use the BetMGM app, you'll see betting options like moneyline bets, prop bets, live bets. There's also those same game parlays that I mentioned, and you can take advantage of BetMGM's fun daily promotions for day of games. All brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today and please gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to help Western North Carolina recover from Hurricane Helene. Through October 19th, participating Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to hurricane relief efforts in Western North Carolina. So when you buy a Bowberry biscuit from Bojangles, you'll be doing something good and getting something good. What are you waiting for? It's Help Western North Carolina time.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? That's